Viewers, here are some extra notes on how the ancestors of humans reached this planet, which had an environment similar to Earth, but was plagued by aliens' terrifying and deadly plans, leaving everyone astonished. At the beginning of the story, we see Earth at a time when no humans existed. An unusual type of alien arrives on Earth and starts breathing in Earth's environment. Suddenly, the alien's body begins to melt, and it falls into a waterfall. The alien's DNA spreads everywhere, and later, all humans are born due to this DNA. The story then fast-forwards thousands of years, showing that humans have already been born on Earth. Some researchers conduct their research in large caves, and they find ancient paintings on the walls deep within these caves. These paintings have been there for thousands of years. In the paintings, a man is seen reaching out to the sky, which is depicted as a constellation of stars. Interestingly, many researchers found similar paintings in different caves, suggesting that these symbols were common. After analyzing these paintings extensively, scientists deduce that when humans were born many years ago, their ancestors created these images to help us understand the constellations and locate their planet. In 2050, an advanced spacecraft was sent to this distant planet. Astronauts aboard the spacecraft were to research the planet, but only one person, named David, was present. David was not a human, but a robot tasked with overseeing the astronauts and the entire spaceship. After many years of travel, the astronauts finally reached the planet depicted in the paintings. They woke up from their sleeping chambers, and the spacecraft prepared to land on the planet. Initially, during the investigation, they found no signs of life on the planet. However, as they ventured between two large mountains, their captain, Charlie, noticed something strange. In fact, there was a long line on the ground that led straight to a large structure. Charlie knew that nature doesn't create anything straight, so he asked his team to land as soon as possible. After landing, everyone was very surprised to see a huge structure in front of them, which seemed to be built by a highly advanced and possibly living entity. Charlie quickly decided to enter the structure and investigate. They all put on their oxygen masks quickly. Even though there was oxygen on the planet, the atmosphere was still quite dense. David, being a robot, didn't need an oxygen mask, so the rest of the team put theirs on. Charlie and his team entered the large structure and began their investigation with their advanced tools. As soon as they entered, Charlie noticed that the oxygen levels were very high, meaning they could breathe comfortably. Although his team tried to stop him, Charlie decided to remove his helmet. After removing it, he could breathe easily, and seeing this, the other astronauts also removed their helmets. However, no one could understand how there was oxygen in the structure. Meanwhile, David found a sticky substance with glowing microorganisms inside. According to his analysis, David touched the walls, which emitted radio waves showing people fleeing from the area. Everyone was quite frightened by this, especially when a man fell and was killed by a falling rock. However, this was just a tape recording, similar to how humans use CCTV cameras. It seemed to be alien technology that recorded events from thousands of years ago and was now playing them back. When Charlie and his team reached the site, they saw the man who had been crushed by the wall in reality, but his head was on the other side of the wall. David, being an advanced robot, attempted to hack the entrance to open it. After a bit of hesitation, David managed to open the door. Everyone gradually went inside to inspect the area. There, they found the head of an alien, and many chests were present, filled with a dense substance. Nobody could understand what all these things were. The other astronauts were exploring the area, and David noticed that some of the small chests were being opened. David speculated that the aliens were creating various types of organisms, and this was part of that process. Meanwhile, Charlie's team aboard the spaceship contacted the others, informing them of a massive storm approaching. They needed to return to the spaceship as soon as possible. Dr. Shoria took the alien head with him, while David, unable to fully understand what was going on, secretly took one of the chests with him. The group quickly boarded the dropship and headed back to their spaceship. A huge storm loomed ahead, and everyone rushed to the spaceship. Later, the astronauts realized that two of their teammates were left behind. They contacted the stranded astronauts, informing them that they would have to spend the night in the structure and would be picked up in the morning. After returning to the spaceship, David began to open the chest he had brought from the structure. Upon opening it, David saw that it contained some kind of DNA. It was likely alien DNA. After much contemplation, David decided to mix this DNA into Charlie's drink, intending to see what effect it would have. David was envious of Charlie and disliked him because he was Dr. Shorya's boyfriend, which annoyed David greatly. Nevertheless, David wanted to test how this alien DNA would affect a human body. He mixed the DNA into Charlie's drink and gave it to him, but David could never have anticipated how terrifying the results would be. On the other hand, Dr. Shorya continued experimenting with the alien head and discovered a strange type of alien brain inside it. The team attempted to activate the alien head using injections, but due to some malfunction, the alien head suddenly exploded in a terrifying blast. When Dr. Shorya's team examined the alien DNA, they discovered that it was remarkably similar to human DNA. This suggested that these aliens might be the ancestors of humans, a groundbreaking revelation for human evolution. Deadly demon traps man in his dark love to complete huge curse about existence in world as night fell. Dr. Shorya and Charlie spent time together and became quite close. The next morning, the astronauts prepared to rescue their two stranded teammates, as there had been no signals from them. The two missing astronauts were shown to be facing a strange creature, which was composed of the same liquid found in many of the alien chests. The creature managed to enter the mouths of the two astronauts and killed them. When the rest of the astronauts arrived to retrieve them, they found their teammates dead, and no one understood how this had happened. Meanwhile, David, under the guise of investigating, found himself in a place where the wall ended. Somehow, he managed to open it and discovered a strange structure filled with many sleeping chambers. David was astonished at how this place had come to be. He began pressing buttons on a nearby machine, which activated radio waves showing various aliens. The machine displayed a map of the entire galaxy. David learned that the aliens were discussing Earth and its inhabitants. Back with Charlie, his condition deteriorated significantly due to the effects of the alien DNA that David had mixed into his drink. Dr. Shorya was trying her best to stabilize him. Given the severity of Charlie's condition, Dr. Shorya instructed everyone to return. Meanwhile, David discovered a secret he kept to himself. The team quickly decided to bring Charlie aboard the spaceship, but one of their team members refused to let Charlie in, believing he was infected and could endanger everyone. Despite Dr. Shorya's protests, the team decided to incinerate Charlie to prevent the potential spread of infection. Dr. Shorya was deeply shocked by the decision. The next day, when Dr. Shorya opened his eyes, David was there, revealing that Dr. Shorya was pregnant. Dr. Shorya was bewildered, wondering how he could be pregnant so quickly. Though he had been with Charlie the previous day, it was impossible to conceive a child in such a short time. Dr. Shorya wanted David to remove the baby, but David said it was impossible. He even injected Dr. Shorya to render him unconscious. Afterward, some astronauts placed Dr. Shorya into a sleeping chamber. However, Dr. Shorya woke up just in time and, after killing the two astronauts, reached a very advanced machine capable of performing any type of operation. Dr. Shorya sat in the machine, giving commands to perform the operation. The machine began the procedure, causing Dr. Shorya severe pain. After the operation, a strange worm-like creature emerged from his abdomen. Dr. Shorya immediately fled from the scene. Later, Dr. Shorya entered a room where David and a large businessman were present. This businessman had been in a sleeping chamber since the beginning and was the major funder of the entire project. The businessman, very wealthy and influential, wanted the astronauts to find their ancestors on the planet to discover how human lifespan could be extended. David revealed that an alien was still alive, and he began planning with the remaining astronauts for the next steps. Meanwhile, Dr. Shorya's colleagues were investigating the entire structure and discovered that there was no small structure beneath the base. Instead, it was a complete spaceship. David, Dr. Shorya, and some astronauts quickly arrived there. David informed Dr. Shorya that the aliens who operated this spaceship had originally traveled towards Earth. The aliens had created humans and now wanted to create another world. However, they had decided to first destroy Earth. Despite their plans, they had not left this place for years. David then opened the sleeping chamber, where the last alien was inside. The alien woke up and started looking around. David, speaking various languages, tried to communicate with the alien. But soon the alien became uncontrollable and began attacking David and the other astronauts. Dr. Shorya, in a bid to save himself, quickly fled the scene. The alien knew what it needed to do and immediately activated the spaceship for launch. Dr. Shorya coordinated with his teammates, insisting that they must destroy the large spaceship because if the alien left with it, it would completely destroy Earth. The remaining astronauts saw no other option. When the alien spaceship began to take off, Dr. Shorya's team deliberately collided their spaceship with the aliens, causing both spaceships to crash down. Now, only Dr. Shorya survived among the astronauts. As he was going to check on his friends in the spaceship, he found David lying dead on the ground. David, sensing the situation, had warned Dr. Shorya that if he was to confront Dr. Shorya, it would be in that moment. Dr. Shorya, undeterred, approached the room where he had performed the operation and removed the worm. The small worm had grown into a massive creature that began attacking the aliens. Dr. Shorya quickly escaped, saving himself as the dangerous creature killed the alien. However, Dr. Shorya was now alone on the planet, with no way to leave. Thus, the painful story ends here.